what helps make AI feel more comfortable and approachable for teams across the businesses?
Unlock to adopting AI on team basis, on product basis mindset to actually start doing things. Start with the something you are solving for, not from the technology. Technology is just a means to the end. And what AI helped us reach the gap between product owners and subject matter experts and engineers who are building it. Now it can be the same person with the focus of the problem. AI vibe coding, accessibility of tools, and ease of rollout helps people who have product in mind deliver it through easily accessible technology.
I look at overall adoption and progress as a company, or a proxy for AI nativity, as kind of four things. It's like, are you generating revenue based on your AI efforts? Have you productized something with AI that is core to, your efforts internally or externally? If you were to remove AI, if you were to get rid of large language models, for example, and kind of just delete the progress of the past 2 years, would your core processes as a business function still? Or are you so reliant on this new way of working that these core processes would break absent the innovation that you'd made?
Welcome back to a special episode of Inside AI Digital. I'm your host, YJ. Today, we're joined by David, Chief AI Officer, and Boris, Head of AI Incubator, to talk about fast-tracking AI adoption. We'll discuss how to make AI feel more approachable and how teams can build confidence through hands-on experimentation. So David, I want to start big picture. We're a few years into the Gen AI boom. A lot of companies now have access to tools and pilots and different trainings. But for many orgs, AI still feels like something people talk about more than something that's really changing the way people work on a day-to-day basis. So from your perspective, what's currently the biggest gap between AI excitement and real adoption?
Willpower. The most common conversation that I have around adoption is that people understand that AI can be existential for their business, or it can be a huge competitive advantage, but they are either too busy rowing their boat to realize it has a motor, as I like to say, or they are overwhelmed by the possibilities and the technology and what's out there. A variety of flavors of why this is the case, but it's just the will to get in there and get your hands dirty, to roll up your sleeves and actually do things and build things. And that's the ethos behind our incubator program and a lot of what we do at AI Digital Labs.
I love the willpower component. Obviously applies to many other things, even outside AI. But Boris, I'd love to bring in here, a lot of people are curious about AI, but they're also still very hesitant. Some people worry about either doing it wrong, or maybe they feel like it's too technical for them. They just don't know where to start, right? So from your perspective, what helps make AI feel more comfortable and approachable for teams across the businesses?
Mindset. And that is the most important part here. The key unlock to adopting AI on team basis, on product basis mindset to actually start doing things. Envision a product, envision a use case, start with the something you are solving for, not from the technology. Technology is just a means to the end.
By the way, I'm loving these one-word responses to kick off our discussions. They're great. Willpower and mindset. I think this is a great lead-in to AI Digital Hackathon, which created a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement. One thing that I really liked about recent hackathon was that it gave a lot of people more hands-on collaborative ways to experiment with AI rather than just hearing about it through us or in theory. So can you walk us through how AI Digital Hackathon was structured, what teams were asked to build, and what they were judged based on?
That's a very interesting question. So what the hackathon is and what's the core purpose of it? It's not directly, let's build tools. How can AI help you in your day-to-day work? How it can help our clients more? So the teams were tasked of thinking of something that they can build or envision to help our clients better. Full creative authority, any technology they need, we're able to request and get to work with it. So no constraints to their mindset. Most important part, think of a product or a problem you're solving. And that is exactly how the judging was set. It was not purely tech judgment. The core part of the rubric was, what are we solving for? How much our clients would value it, or how it will help our internal teams. And the technology and novelty part was, let's say, a smaller part of it.
That's a great response. And that reminds me of a quote, form follows function. Marrying that into how you mentioned it's problem solving first, and then the tech follows. I've got to see some of the products that people built. And what surprised me the most was a lot of the participants aren't technical or have zero experience with building. So could you share with us some of the examples that stood out and you thought was, wow, that's a really cool way to think about problem solving?
So what I would say differentiates most successful teams from less successful is the first question they ask on our mentorship sessions. When they come with an idea of a problem they're solving, the use case, I definitely knew that they will show a great result. That is why and what AI helped us reach the gap between product owners and subject matter experts and engineers who are building it. Now it can be the same person with the focus of the problem. AI vibe coding, accessibility of tools, and ease of rollout helps people who have product in mind deliver it through easily accessible technology. And that's what surprised me the most, is how those less tech-savvy folks started coding, literally writing code with the help of AI, deploying applications. They were surprised even more than I am.
I love that. Would you be able to share if some of the ideas that were presented could maybe potentially be productized in the near future for AI Digital?
Absolutely. Roughly, not just winners, 3 internal teams and 3 external teams, almost every product built throughout the hackathon had 1 or 2 ideas that I will definitely include into our labs products. I hear the same from our internal AI engineering department, that they are going to implement those ideas. Some of those products, and literally, for example, tool to help our cooperative and smaller clients manage their budgets and have more visibility on what they're running with their partners, it's almost ready product that it's easy to productalize.
That's amazing. David, from a leadership perspective, what did Hackathon reveal about how people at AI Digital are starting to approach AI differently? And a follow-up question would be, how do we keep this excitement and momentum going as a company?
It's interesting, not to sound arrogant, but it didn't reveal anything to me that I guess it confirmed a hypothesis that we had and that the entire leadership had, which is that we have this collective wisdom among our 500 plus people who have niche subject matter expertise in a variety of areas. For all of them, many of them had, but hadn't yet combined that with this feeling of empowerment about AI. And so Hackathon to me was not just about getting all these great results that we could productize and use internally, but it was more about creating these epiphanies for folks where, like Boris said, non-technical people aren't just vibe coding a front end in one shot or a UI that looks all cloudified, but they were building in real development environments with tools like, Replit or Lovable or VS Code instances, and doing things that our real developers are doing. They were connecting to APIs. They were talking to some of our MCP servers. They were doing real development tasks. And I know there were pockets of technical excellence within AI Digital, but for the folks who don't do that on a day-to-day basis, to be able to just will it into existence through something like the hackathon, where the company has created space for them to do so and given them resources to do so, that is what we wanted to achieve from it. And frankly, the results were better than we expected. And it was really just quite a success. Like Boris said, we had trouble picking the winners. And this isn't just something you say to make everyone feel good. We are actively incentivizing folks to build things and to adopt them into certain products we already have in development for people who did not win because the competition was so fierce, and really collaborative as well. And we just loved showing people that they can make things if they just put their heads together and combine their powers and create amazing things.
I love that. I'm going to go ahead and open up a question to both of you guys. As we continue building AI into the way AI Digital works, how should we measure whether adoption is actually happening, or what are some of the signs and indicators that we're making real progress as a company?
That's interesting. I'm sure Boris has his view on this. You see a lot of people talking about token maxing and token leaderboards. That's not something I'm a fan of, but there's some element of belief which is hard to measure, and it's kind of measuring competency. And, if you have a coding tool or something like a Manus or a Replit or a Lovable, if you have connectors that you can build a pipeline within N8N, and you're giving people access to tools like this that are a bit more technical, adoption of those more technical tools, not just adoption of Gemini or ChatGPT or Copilot or Claude. That's quite interesting to look into. But I look at overall adoption and progress as a company, or a proxy for AI nativity, as kind of 4 things. It's like, are you generating revenue based on your AI efforts? Have you productized something with AI that is core to, your efforts internally or externally? Do you have this kind of AI native DNA, your people believe, and that's kind of the belief element I talked about and the adoption metrics there. And if you were to remove AI, if you were to get rid of large language models, for example, and kind of just delete the progress of the past 2 years, would your core processes as a business function still? Or are you so reliant on this new way of working that these core processes would break absent the innovation that you'd made? And I think when you measure AI digital on all 4 of those primary axes, you find resounding yes to all of those. There are many other ways to measure, but that's kind of holistically how I think about it.
That's a really interesting perspective, especially the last component of what if we were to remove AI from a current business model? How would we stand? That's definitely something for us to all think about. Boris, anything to add here?
Yes, I would say maybe less strategic thinking, but a clear first signal want to see. When we're out of hackathon, I want those people or new people who haven't touched it actually come up with ideas and prototypes that similar to those that were built during the hackathon and problem solve on their own, where there's no clear incentive from the company, there is no push to do things, but they still go on and figure out how to make things more better with AI. That's the clear signal I'm waiting for.
That's a great place to wrap. David, Boris, thank you so much for joining today and sharing your perspective. And thanks everyone for listening to Inside AI Digital. We'll see you guys next time.